The film opens with Cass, his friend Rocky, and a group of girls, all hyped for a night out at the clubs in LA. Just as they're about to leave, Cass's attention is caught by a beautiful woman, and he decides to approach her. She introduces herself as Free, and despite Cass's attempts to convince her to join them, she declines, insisting she'd rather enjoy her sandwich alone. With no other option, Cass wishes her a good time before rejoining the group. As they head out, Cass gets a notification that Donald Trump has won the elections in Iowa, dampening his mood, but Rocky refuses to let anything ruin the night and urges Cass to put his phone away and enjoy the moment. Before they reach the club, Cass gets a call from his son, Rumi, who is distressed over how his mother is reacting to the election results. Cass comforts him with a familiar mantra, reminding him that he's strong, smart, and loving. The reassurance seems to ease Rumi's worries, and they end the call on a lighter note. Just as Cass rejoins the group, Free unexpectedly rushes up to him, asking if his offer still stands. Looks like being alone on a club night in LA isn't as fun as she thought. As a club promoter, Cass is well known, and the group is let in without waiting in line. Inside, the club is already in full swing, the energy electric. While Rocky and the girls dive right into the party, Cass and Free remain more laid back, taking it all in. Cass gets another election update about how Donald Trump is gaining the upper hand, which does nothing to improve his mood. Wanting a distraction, he strikes up small talk with Free, hoping to get to know her better. With the music blaring, Free struggles to hear him and turns her head, accidentally brushing her lips against his. The unexpected moment creates an awkward tension between them, and Free quickly excuses herself to the bathroom. Cass follows her, and the air between them grows thick with unspoken desire. Drawn to each other, they finally lean in for a passionate kiss. But just as things are about to escalate, Free snaps back to reality and pulls away, stopping Cass before abruptly storming out. Devastated, Cass rushes after Free, but she's nowhere to be found in the crowded club. He eventually steps outside and spots her trying to hail a cab. Determined not to let her slip away, he approaches her, but Free wants nothing to do with him after the bathroom incident. Besides, she's only visiting LA, and she's heading back to the Midwest the next day. Frustrated, Cass turns and walks away, but an uneasy feeling lingers. Unable to shake it off, he hesitates outside the club. That's when he spots trouble because Free is suddenly being harassed by a group of men. Without a second thought, he steps in to protect her. During the heated fight, the police rush in and immediately target Cass, who is the only black man, while the other guys slip away unnoticed. Frustrated, Free tries to explain the situation, and after some hesitation, the officer finally lets Cass go. Now sporting a busted lip from the encounter, Cass feels completely drained, his mood for the club ruined. As he steps away, a college student excitedly approaches him, asking about his film and when the feature will be released. In no mood for the conversation, Cass brushes him off, advising him to focus on school instead before walking away. Free, curious, asks about the film, but Cass shuts her down, making it clear he's done for the night. Free gently urges Cass to sit with her so she can check his lip, trying to calm him down. After a moment of awkward silence, Cass, still unsettled, pulls out his phone and orders a ride. He takes a deep breath and apologizes for what happened in the bathroom, but Free assures him it's fine and she holds no grudges. Noticing his lingering frustration, she decides to ride with him. In the car, Free thanks Cass for stepping in earlier and casually calls him cute. Cass isn't amused by this, since he's a grown man after all, which makes Free burst out laughing. The driver, Nakib, notices Cass's busted lip, and soon, the conversation shifts to the injustices black men face. After a moment of silence, Cass suddenly asks Free what she truly wants in life. The question catches her off guard, making her shrug. Free admits that nobody ever really gets what they want. Cass disagrees, but Free stands by her belief, the conversation stirring something emotional in her. She's a lawyer with a solid career, yet there's an unmistakable lack of joy in her voice. After much persistence from Cass, she finally admits her real passion of becoming a DJ. Cass is surprised, but impressed about this. In turn, he shares his own pursuit of a film career. Curious about her music taste, he asks for her playlist. As the songs play, he instantly starts vibing, complimenting her choices. The mood in the car lifts, laughter filling the space. But just as the moment peaks, Cass's expression shifts because of a text that suddenly appears on Free's phone. It's from her ex, asking when she's coming back home. After arriving at their destination, Free quickly picks up on Cass's mood shift and asks what's wrong. He admits he saw the text from her ex. Though she tries to explain, Cass shrugs it off, saying it's none of his business. Besides, she's only in LA for a short time and will soon return to her real life. Curious, Free flips the question on him, asking if he's romantically involved with anyone. She mentions overhearing his earlier call, where he sounded affectionate. Cass goes into deep thoughts about this, and eventually bursts out laughing, realizing she's talking about Rumi. He reveals that he has a 5-year-old son, catching Free completely off guard. As Cass tries to assure her that he understands she has her own life, Free cuts him off because she's done with her ex. Cass fought for her on the very first day they met, while all her ex ever did was fight her. Overcome by the intensity of the moment, Free leans in, and they share a deep, heartwarming kiss. As they pull away, Free gets distracted by the breathtaking night view of LA and takes a moment to soak it in. Cass joins her, and they silently admire the beauty together before heading to his friend Russell's house. However, Cass isn't prepared for what they walk into. The house is packed with people, buzzing with conversation, everyone glued to the election coverage. Looks like Donald Trump is still gaining the upper hand. While Cass fixes drinks for himself and Free, another update comes in, announcing that Donald Trump has won Pennsylvania. The room erupts in devastation, the weight of the moment sinking in. Amid the chaos, Cass retreats into his thoughts, reflecting on the film he abandoned 4 years ago. The overwhelming night forces him to reconsider his path. Free seems to have a similar realization. Without warning, she switches off the TV, drawing immediate protests from the crowd. Unfazed, she urges everyone to take a breath, insisting they don't need to drown in the news right now. Instead, she connects her playlist, in order to shift the mood. While some guests leave in frustration, others embrace the change, dancing and momentarily escaping their worries. Cass admires Free's boldness, but she starts to waver, noticing that many people are still caught up in election discussions. In a split-second decision, just as abruptly as she turned off the TV, she stops the music and apologizes for disrupting their night. Maybe they'd rather drown in the bad news after all. Sensing her discomfort, Cass takes her upstairs to escape the tense atmosphere. On the rooftop, he pulls out his film, ready to share a piece of himself with her. But before he can begin, her ex interrupts the moment with a phone call. Frustrated, Free snaps at her ex over the phone while Cass heads to the fireplace. Deep in thought, the moment already soured for him. When she finally hangs up, she tries to reignite their connection, but Cass seems distant now. He simply wishes her a safe flight, urging her to go back before trying to leave. This only fuels Free's frustration. She calls him out, saying they might as well give up, since he already has. Cass freezes, stunned by her words. Free doesn't stop there. She challenges him about his abandoned film, asking if he's really just letting it go. But Cass pushes back, saying she has no right to question him when she's too afraid to chase her own dreams. However, Free doesn't back down either, telling Cass that he's the one in a safe place. Her tone softens as she asks about his film, genuinely curious about what went wrong. Cass opens up, admitting that every day is a fight for survival. His words hit Free deeply, making her reflect on her own life. Without thinking, Cass pulls her into a warm embrace. However, their moment is abruptly shattered when they learn that Donald Trump has won the election. They stand there stunned, letting the reality of their situation as Black people in the United States sink in. Eventually, they gather themselves and head back inside, where a room full of disappointed people all complain about the turn of events. The room erupts with frustration, everyone voicing their concerns at once. Cass steps in, delivering an impassioned speech that not only calms the crowd, but also forces him to reflect on his own words. Afterward, he leaves with Free, stepping into the cool night air. Outside, they run into Naqib, who is equally shaken by the election results. Seeking solidarity, he offers them a ride. As they drive, the tense atmosphere deepens with the radio playing continuous election coverage. Callers flood in, expressing their fears and disappointment, especially about what this means for Black communities. Free opens up about her job, admitting that she often defends the wrong people. The realization hits her that too many bad people are winning, and the election results only reinforce that truth. Lost in thought, Cass shares that he named Rumi after his favorite poet, hoping his son will grow into a thoughtful and expressive person. He repeats the mantra he always tells Rumi, and Free is visibly moved. She praises his parenting, assuring him that if Rumi is anything like him, he's already smart, strong, and loving. Cass's heart warms at her words, and he acknowledges that he's grateful to have met her. Free also feels the same way about this. After a moment of silence, Cass admits that he moved to LA so the good people could win for once. His words strike a chord with Free, and they both quietly say amen to that. When they arrive at their destination, Cass thanks Naqib for the ride before leading Free into a small restaurant. Once they're seated, he finally gathers the courage to show her his film. As she watches, emotions flicker across her face: sadness, joy, horror, and happiness all at once. When it ends, Free sits in awe, completely blown away by the masterpiece. She turns to Cass, eyes shining, and compliments his incredible talent. Free urges Cass to send out the script and get the film produced. However, he hesitates, insisting it still needs work. He feels it needs to be edited, refined, and the scenes cleaned up. But Free disagrees. To her, the film is more than just a project. It's the voice of the people, especially in a moment like this. It's what they need, maybe even all they have. She believes it has the power to make a real difference. Cass remains uncertain, but Free's conviction doesn't waver. To prove how serious she is, she makes him an offer. If he sends the film, she'll cancel her flight. Cass is stunned, convinced Free can't be serious, but she is. Without hesitation, she pulls out her phone, logs into her flight details, and shows him she's ready to cancel. Not just her flight, but also her job and her entire life back home. Realizing the depth of her commitment, Cass finally sits beside her. Taking a deep breath, he presses send, and a wave of relief washes over him upon doing so, which brings a smile to Free's face. True to her word, Free cancels her flight. Her decision is final. She's staying in LA. They lean into each other, the weight of uncertainty lifting as they embrace the unknown, ready for whatever comes next.